The Big East Women's Soccer Championship semifinals are driven by Jeep. On a frigid night in Omaha, Nebraska, the second and final ticket to Championship Sunday is up for grabs as the Xavier Musketeers await the winner of the 2-seed Georgetown Hoyas and the 6-seeded Providence Friars. As we look at the tournament bracket heading into this night, Xavier now awaiting this winner. We welcome you into our broadcast booth, everybody. He's John Schreiner. I'm John Fanta. And, John, these two teams met in the regular season with Georgetown flexing their muscles just like they have throughout the recent years in Big East soccer. A 4-0 win for the Hoyas. The question now becomes, how do the Friars try to flip that script?
Well, they're going to have to be really, really solid in defense. They're probably going to have to play their best defensive match of the season here tonight to dethrone the 3-time defending champs. I mean, you have to take the championship away from the title holder, right? Providence is going to have to do that. They're going to have to be locked in and locked down at the back to take out this very high-powered, potent Georgetown attack.
A high-powered attack that's been powered by two seniors primarily, in Amanda Carolyn, who we'll talk about a lot tonight, the other being Paula Germino-Watnick, who Dave Nolan calls the perfectionist, and that might be her only flaw because she strives to be at the absolute best.
Wow, she's just so good. I mean, she's not a big player, body size, but she plays like a giant. She's the Big East midfielder of the year. She's just fantastic front to back, pulls the strings for this attack. It's going to be sad next year when we don't get to see PGW out there on the pitch.
Think about it. 9 goals, 8 assists on the season for the senior. The game goes at her pace. And for the Hoyas in goal, Ariel Schechtman was the best goalkeeper in college soccer last year. It's a freshman who had big shoes to fill, and Anna Leet's done just that.
Well, she certainly has. I mean, she's picked up with no drop-off. And to have a freshman come in like that, to play goalkeeper, which is probably the most important leadership position on the pitch. You have to communicate with those backline players. You've got to be so solid in the air. You've got to be confident. And she's done it all.
This Georgetown team has been at the top of Big East women's soccer throughout the tournaments the last 3 years. The last time they didn't come out with a title was in 2015. The last time this tournament was in Omaha, and their loss came against these Providence Friars. We'll talk about the Friars coming up. But first, we caught up with Georgetown yesterday.
Our team has always been the kind that looks to the freshmen and the seniors as equal parts, and I think we all do our jobs every single day, and that's what makes us so successful. So I think just kind of looking for that 4th championship is kind of what's been our goal at the end of the season, and we're super excited to be in Omaha. Definitely just trying to do my job. I'm not the person that's usually scoring or the person that's saving it from getting in the back of the net, but just trying to do all the little things to help everyone else on the field.
What's the main parts of your job?
Just kind of getting stuck in defensively and trying to help as much as I can on defense and on offense, but definitely just working hard in there. Yeah, they're definitely some of the best in the country. I love watching them play, and I love playing with them. It makes us better every single day to get to train with them. Yeah, obviously we have that target on our back, having won it the last 3 years, but I think we still kind of consider ourselves underdogs in the national scheme of things, so we definitely play with that kind of bite, and we want to prove ourselves every single day. So we're super excited to try to get that 4th championship.
A picturesque view of downtown Omaha, Nebraska, where it is chilly. Temperature at 29 degrees right now, inching close to kickoff between 2-seeded Georgetown and 6-seed Providence. A case of Friar magic in the last week. Think about it, John. Last Thursday, they lose 4-1 at Seton Hall, then had to watch Creighton and Marquette, both of which lost, securing the 6th seed for Sam Lope's team. And now here they are off a PK win over Butler in improbable fashion at the Selleck Bowl.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you would have looked back a week ago and told Sam Lopes, hey, you're going to lose 4-1 to Seton Hall, the bottom team in the conference, I'm sure he would have said, well, we're not making the tournament. But they did it, and then, hey, made the most of that opportunity they got and got that shootout victory against Butler, who I think at the start of the season, most would have probably figured Butler's in this position playing in the semifinal at least right now. But, hey, all credit to Providence. They've taken advantage of the opportunities they've gotten.
All the credit to the junior goalkeeper, Shelby Hogan, the Big East goalkeeper of the year. Tonight she gets a daunting test with Jermino Watnick and Carolyn leading a Georgetown side that knows all too well how to finish. But for Hogan, she does all the explosive things in the cage. And for the Friars attack, it has been unquestioned who is at the top of the offense for them. A junior in Hannah McNulty.
Well, not only has she been at the top of the offense, she's been the offense. In the last 8 matches, Providence has scored 4 goals. Hannah McNulty has scored every single one. The only player in a Friars uniform to score a goal in 8 matches. She's got to be huge tonight.
9 of the 18 for her team. The Friars need McNulty to create some more magic and flip this bracket upside down. And here's what Shelby Hogan had to say yesterday, the one in net for this Friar side.
Well, I think it was a roller coaster of emotions for sure. I think at Seton Hall we were really upset that we let that opportunity slip away, but we were just hoping that we would get that other opportunity, and we did at Butler. So we just wanted to take advantage of it, and we did with that as well. So I think it's just like we got to show up every day and give our best, because when we don't, we know we don't like that result that would come with it. So I think we're just came out here and we're just going to give everything we got and leave it all out in the field, and hopefully it ends in our favor. Well, I just want to do whatever I can for the team to help them succeed. So I think it's just like a total group effort. If we're going to come out,
who do you want
it's going to take all 23 of us, and as well as the coaching staff and trainers. I think we've emphasized that the entire season, that it's not going to be one player that's going to make the difference. It's going to be that entire team as a unit together making that difference. I think we just got to focus on the game plan and tactics. Obviously, they have a lot of talented players on their side, but we have talented players on our side as well. So we just got to once again come together and try to shut down some of their key attacking tendencies, and just hopefully can come out on top. Yeah, I think we're definitely embracing that underdog role, and I don't think we're hiding from that. We did come in as a 6th seed, but this isn't our first time coming in as a 6th seed, so I think that even with the seedings in the tournament, that's not going to make or break who's going to win it all, so I think we just got to embrace that and go from there. Well, I know I wouldn't have been able to do it without my teammates, and I think there's a lot of people on the team that aren't getting that credit, but they all deserve it. It was definitely humbling to deserve that award, but I know that we're not done yet, and I just hope that I can do whatever I can to help my team get the results on Thursday.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
The Georgetown Hoyas have won the last 3 Big East tournament titles. And tonight they look to start another run, but it will come against 6th seed Providence, making their 3rd consecutive Big East semifinal appearance. With that, let's look at our keys to the game, John Schreiner.
Yeah, for Providence, we begin with Mark PGW. I think Jermino Watnick pulls the strings for Georgetown. You know, if the rest of the team, Amanda Carolyn, if they can beat you, so be it. Don't let the Big East midfielder of the year do it by herself. You got to stop her from having space to receive and distribute in those wider, in the central areas of the pitch, rather, because she will dice your defense to bits. On the other side, for Georgetown, keys for them, possession. I think the best way for Providence to win this match is by hitting Georgetown on the counter. Georgetown can prevent that if they're solid in possession, no sloppy passes, no giveaways at the back. Don't give Providence those opportunities to counter. Be solid on the ball. Don't give it away, and then they can't counter. That's the best way, I think, for Georgetown to really shut this game down and put it to Providence tonight.
For this Providence team, they are young this year. In fact, only 5 seniors on the roster. And Sam Lope said last week when they were facing Seton Hall that was like a postseason game for them. It didn't go well, but they've now basically played 2 postseason games. And he said about this program, because we're so young, I'm really optimistic about next year with all that we have coming back. But this experience alone is so valuable for these kids to go through postseason play, now to go through the team that's been the queen of Big East soccer. And for the Friars, they have nothing to lose. No one expected them to get here tonight, and they lost 4-0 to Georgetown earlier in the regular season. People on paper would think Georgetown controls things tonight, but the Friars have shown before, in Omaha nonetheless, that they can pull the Cinderella card.
Well, and there's your story, John. It's that this team really, I mean, they were given a second life, essentially, with the 2 teams that needed to lose after they lost. Both lost. They were given the pass into the Big East tournament as the 6th seed, the last team in. Nobody expected them to beat Butler, but they did it. They pulled it off. So now it's like house money, right? The belief is starting to creep in again, maybe. It's a rebirth for this season and experience for the future.
Speaking of experience, how about 16th year Georgetown head coach Dave Nolan? 13 straight seasons now with at least 10 wins.
Yeah, I mean, come on. If you want a face of Big East women's soccer, it's got to be Dave Nolan, right? I mean, there's nobody else.
He's a Seton Hall grad, too. He's Big East blood.
There you go.
The Friars in the black and gray trim jerseys. Georgetown in the gray kits tonight. Lisa Verhoeven, Hannah McNulty talking with each other before kick here. It will be McNulty with the first touch as the Friars look for more divine providence tonight. Georgetown going into this championship as the 2 seed. And for this senior class, they would love the 4-peat this week in Omaha, the winningest class in program history. What a career they've been able to put together over the course of 4 years. What are you looking for early in the match?
Not this. Don't let Georgetown run into open spaces for Providence.
A cross for Carolyn, and just wasn't able to get that smoothly to her chest. Now on the right side. This one laid across, and the Friars forced the throw-in. Not the start that you want if you're the Friars in terms of giving an early opportunity up as Sam Lopes. He's in year 6. Every year he's been at the helm, he's led this program to the Big East tournament.
Well, you said it. It's an alarming sign when Georgetown is creating off their first touch of the match a outnumbered situation at the back for Providence. That is not the way they want to start this thing.
Jarena Watnick trying to get her head to it and bullet it away. Julia Lease, part of a tremendous back line for the Hoyas. Think about this Georgetown season, 12-3-3. The loss to DePaul on October 24th was their first loss in a Big East game since 2017. But before that, they had 2 draws. 1-2-2 to Creighton, who has had a rare case of success scoring if you look at the rest of the Big East against the Hoyas. And then a scoreless draw at Butler, that's not really surprising considering how good the Dogs are defensively. But for Georgetown to go winless in 3 straight, it said to the rest of the conference, okay, maybe the Hoyas are more vulnerable than in years past when they've basically been the unquestioned dominant team.
Well, they left the door open to crack, right? And they let other teams who thought that they might be out of the race a month out kind of get back in, and certainly Xavier was one of them.
And they're able to win the corner. That one deflected off of Fryer. That was Jenna Menta wise in her approach. First corner here in the early goings.
Well, Providence they just can't afford to give opportunities to Georgetown. I mean, this team is so skilled that you give them opportunities, they're going to take one of them. And then you're in big trouble because nobody scores more than 2 goals in Big East play against Georgetown. It just doesn't happen.
Creighton got 2 back on October 13th, but that is extremely rare, as you said.
October 23rd, 2016 was the last time a Big East team scored more than 2 goals against Georgetown. If you're keeping track, that's 3 years ago.
Georgetown without a Big East tournament loss in regulation since 2013 as well.
I mean, the numbers are just staggering.
Richards to the back post. Still in a dangerous spot as Hogan fell down, and they just play survival mode here, getting rid of it. Looked like time stopped for a moment for Hogan.
Yeah. And this is, I'm sure, not the way Providence wanted to start this match. Just backs to the wall, being peppered with shots and struggling to clear their lines.
Right side of the box, another cross. And that's an example right there as Royson laid that in. Jenna Royson scoring against Seton Hall. 1 of 4 to do so that day. Dave Nolan talks about his team's unselfishness. This one right side. Here's Jermina Watnick looking for a moment of brilliance. She's had plenty throughout her career. This group is so unselfish. They're not afraid to pass it deep in the zone. That's what Dave Nolan says is the difference for the offense. But missing Boo Jackson, the sophomore who led the Big East in assists before she went down with an ACL injury, it means they have to find that ball movement from other sources.
Yeah, and, you know, we saw it in our first game of the night, John, when we talked about Villanova losing Chloe O'Neal, who was the trigger puller for that offense. And, you know, when you lose that player who sort of has that final pass quality, it's incumbent upon someone else to step up and take that role.
Jenna Menta with a burst of speed, and Menta just a little bit too hard on that touch. Nonetheless, this is the kind of start you want if you're Dave Nolan as the junior put a run together. You heard from Sarah Trissel pregame.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Dave Nolan. What he's been able to build here is amazing. He called Sarah Trissel his unsung hero. He said, where we are defensively, you just brought up the stat about not giving up more than 2 goals, but he said we've got so many dynamic playmakers on the offensive end, they oftentimes get the credit, or your goalkeeper gets the credit. It's those players in between that don't always get it, and Trissel deserves it. Here's Royson winning the corner. A second for Georgetown here in the opening 6 minutes.
Man, how many touches has Providence had in Georgetown's half in these first 6 minutes? And they took the opening kick. Georgetown has come out. They are not going to let Providence believe for a second that they can pull an upset here tonight. They are on it, pressing hard, keeping the ball in that attacking zone.
Now a ball trickling to the 6th. Nizelek. And we get a whistle. And the Friars will try to just establish some sort of a possession. That was the best whistle, the best moment that they've had here in the first 7 minutes, just to catch their breath for a moment.
Yeah, they get to finally clear it out upfield off the offside call.
Shelby Hogan She may have to be on her head tonight. That's how Providence has won games this season. Hogan made a couple of brilliant saves against Butler this past Sunday. You think about that Dogs program, Anya Savage, Soderstrom, Annika Schmidt. They could very well be sitting here right now in the semis. Yeah. That program, to think that they aren't here, that tells you everything you need to know about the Friars and their efforts on Sunday in Indy nonetheless, John.
Yeah, it took a penalty shootout, and I think best case scenario, certainly not best case scenario, but a scenario that they would certainly accept is if they could send this one to a penalty shootout as well. I mean, I think they would fancy their chances if they could keep this thing level through 110 minutes. I mean, what more can you ask for the team that comes in as the 6th seed against the 3-time defending champs?
Now ball down the left side. Jenna Menta, so much quickness. Menta crossing it back. Jermino Watnick. The game just goes at her style, her flow. Hogan eats this one up.
Yeah, Jermina Watnick, she's obviously fabulously talented, but hey, she's also incredibly smart. You know, she's studying biology, wants to become a doctor. Both parents are doctors in the Bethesda area. That's something else.
Well, and she'll be a doctor before we know it. Dave Nolan's trying to convince her to play a little bit professionally because he just loves how talented she is. And you see her when she comes onto the field, and you think to yourself, she's 5'3".
Yeah.
But then you watch her start to play. It's amazing how elusive she is. Not sure whether that was a cross or a shot, but Hogan was all over it. Paula Jermino Watnick leading a senior class that has a combined record of 78, 15, and 17.
It's shocking.
And in the Big East, 37, 4, and 11.
It's almost unfair how good they've been. I mean, nobody else in the conference for 3 seasons now has really even had a chance. They've been so good.
Yep. Butler's been that bridesmaid, and they're so tough defensively. So tough to find a way to beat that back line. And yet Georgetown, before the draw this year at the Selleck Bowl, they had made it look easier, much easier than it is.
It is just scrap and scramble right now for Providence. They're just trying to beat back all these attacks, clearing the ball any which way, but toward their own net, basically.
Friars are without Amber Birchwell tonight, who's a vital part of their season. She's nursing an illness. The junior, a staple to the lineup, could not make the trip this week. This one ahead for Menta. Laid back for Jermino Watnick, and Jermino Watnick with a move to her right. Jermino Watnick with a strike. This one flares over.
And you see, she just has such quick feet, and even in this cold air, she looks just as quick as ever. She's on the ball back and forth with those step overs. You just can't keep track of which way she's going to go.
Not to mention, she's so elusive.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely. Good luck taking the ball off her foot.
For the Friars now, they just like to get some possession established with the way this game's opened up. It'll be a Georgetown throw. With the exception of a few seconds, the game has been on the Friars' end throughout the first 12 minutes.
And so far, John, they haven't shown anything that would lead you to believe they're going to be able to break the pressure either. They haven't had enough quality in passing out of the back. They've just been shut down, like right there. They haven't shown the ability to move through the phases and get it out of their own end.
Jamino Watnick with the cross. Rothman sends it away. Rothman an all-conference selection. Now to the near end, it's Casey Richards, the senior. Dave Nolan talks about her high IQ on the field. Nizalek here on the far end. A third Georgetown corner ahead.
And look at this. Providence is bringing every player into the box for to defend this corner. They're not leaving anyone up top for a potential run out. You can see what the focus is. Keep the ball out of the back of the net.
Would you?
Absolutely.
In terms of leaving players in the by the net, you bring them all. Bring them all back. If Sam Lopes could find a 12th right now, he would.
Like I said, your main goal right now in winning this match is to keep a clean sheet. It's going to be hard for you to score. But if you can also keep Georgetown from scoring, you've got a puncher's chance.
And Georgetown offensively went through a bit of a cold spell, at least as cold as they've been when they had the scoreless draw against Butler, and just had some issues in manufacturing offense against Seton Hall in the first 70 minutes. Dave Nolan said it. We're almost at fault ourselves for some of the errors, because when you win as a senior class 78 times, you want to get even better than that mark, and so you try to be someone that you aren't. You can never be perfect in this beautiful game, he brings up.
Yeah, you start pressing a little bit, I think, and you expect that we're going to go out and score 3 goals every match, and that's pretty unrealistic at the Division I collegiate level. Nobody's going to do that, really. I mean, there are teams that do it, but it's rare. And if you're going to hold yourself to that standard of it's disappointing unless you score 3, well, you're going to press yourself into some bad situations.
Richards and Hogan all over that. Casey Richards, one of the most tactical players Dave Nolan has coached. Very creative.
And she's been the player that's stepped in the last couple of matches while Boo Jackson is out with that injury.
Well, and it's ironic to your point, because she's been the player that's been hurt throughout her career.
Right. And now she's the one that has to step up for an injured player. It's not as though she's totally inexperienced. 61 appearances, now 62 tonight. But as far as the season goes, she wasn't one of the frontline starters, but has been thrust into that role.
Elena Grilla-Kiss with a run down the far end for the Friars. Grilla-Kiss with 5 goals and 2 assists on the season. McNulty and Grilla-Kiss with 14 of the team's 18 scores. We are in Omaha, Nebraska. Big East Women's Soccer semifinal Thursday. Top-seeded Xavier handled Villanova 2-0 in the opener here in Omaha. Setting the tone 15 minutes in. Carrie Lewis. And now, a remaining ticket to the championship game on the line, and Georgetown looking to break out to an early lead. Cross for Jamino Watnick. Instead, it's Menta, and to her left is Hogan with the save.
That's good concentration from Shelby Hogan. Jamino Watnick really thought she was going to get a touch on that. Take a look here. Comes right back. Jamino Watnick looked like she was trying to play it across for another pass. Don't think she got the touch, but it ended up falling to Menta, who just didn't quite get enough on it.
How about Jenna Menta's activity early on?
Yeah, she's been pretty good going down this left side, making those runs. She's been really connecting well with Richards on this left side. She's a player also that in the absence of Boo Jackson, can step up and provide some good service for the Hoyas.
7 Hoyas earning all Big East honors. Jenna Menta wasn't one of them. Dave Nolan thinks that she should have been. and you think about this team, when you've got one of your most active players right now not won the All-League honors, as Hogan watches that go over top, it just tells you how many options they've got.
Tremendously talented. There's no doubt. And this is meant to be a cross, but it's just mishit ever so slightly and ends up worrying Shelby Hogan ever so slightly. Sometimes those scrosses end up in the back of the net, the old shot cross.
There's a ticket to the Big East Finals on the line, and you're playing the heavyweight in the conference the last half decade. Everything gets more cautious.
Yeah, it certainly does.
The challenge is, can you play loose? And thus far, Georgetown hasn't even given Providence the opportunity to get loose.
They haven't looked tight necessarily, but I'll agree with you. It's been constant pressure. But Providence doesn't look to be in a panic right now. They look to be fairly well composed. They've just got to keep it up. The longer this game goes scoreless, John, the better it is for Providence. I mean, because then frustrations start to set in with a team that definitely thinks they should win this by probably multiple goals. They may start pressing. They may give you an opportunity.
Here's Amanda Carolyn with the feed ahead for Jenna Menta, and the junior right at the hands of Hogan with the shot. And so 20 minutes in, inching closer to that mark, another opportunity. Nice feed from Carolyn.
The positioning from Hogan, look at it. She's in the perfect spot, knows exactly where she needs to be, gets to the spot, and the ball came right to her.
If there's a wild card to this weekend in Omaha, it's Shelby Hogan.
Yeah. If she's standing on her head and keeping clean sheets, who's going to beat Providence?
She's like the relief pitcher in baseball who
gets on a heater.
Yep, you can count on in the third of one game, you can count on in the seventh of another. Just have Shelby Hogan in there for the moment. Give her a chance to put a save together. If your back line can just stay glued long enough, Shelby will save.
Well, it's playoff hockey too, right? They say that the team with the hottest goaltender is the team that usually wins. And, hey, Shelby Hogan, if she gets on a streak, which she has been, Providence is dangerous.
And here's the other dimension that comes up here. Here comes the Hoyas again. This high-powered offensive machine meant locked in by Hogan. A common sight in the first 20 minutes as Menta getting her third shot off.
Yeah, it's just straightforward. I mean, that's direct attacking from Georgetown, and Menta trying to put it across the face of goal, hoping for somebody else to be there. Shelby Hogan just cancels the whole thing out.
If you're an elite, and the feels like temperature right now is in the low 20s, you're the Georgetown keeper on the other side, I'll tell you what.
It's brutal.
It is brutal. I'm thinking to myself, when the first opportunity comes on target, she's just been sitting back there here for the first 20 minutes. A long ball to a Hoyas back line that has been tremendous all season long. Georgetown outscoring opponents 43-16 this year. A total of 9 shutouts.
The best run of possession we've seen from Providence tonight just came to an end, and it's created an attacking opportunity the other way.
Creating a counter right side of the box now to Carolyn, deflected out for another Hoya corner. It'll be the fourth for Georgetown.
And I think it's Alexis Rothman who comes in late and gets a foot on it. Yeah, you see her coming into the picture? That's not Rothman. It's Arachi. Alessandra Arachi comes through late, gets the clearance. That was great defensive play. by the senior.
Stable horse in the midfield, now in her senior season, trying to keep this Providence season going. They go short on this corner. Nizelek. That's deflected off of Fryer. Still in the attacking third. Georgetown spent virtually this whole game thus far in the attacking third as Livingstone had it cut off. The Friars defense facing the ultimate test tonight. A week removed from a 4-1 loss at Seton Hall. The Pirates' first Big East win since 2016. An absolute shell shocker in the Garden State. Providence had to bus home. That 4-hour drive is unkind. And now on the right side of the box, it was a pass. They just couldn't make the connection as went to the back post. And the thought was there, a good one from Jenna Royson.
And I think Royson wanted to shoot that ball. She thought she had the angle to hit that at the far post, and I don't know, she was kind of caught in two minds whether she should pass it or shoot it, and it skewed wide of everything.
Jenna Royson with 4 goals on the season, tied for 3rd on the team for these Hoyas. Down the right side again. It's Menta, and this will just be a goal kick. Could have been the 5th corner already. Well, if you're Providence, you came in tonight with house money.
Yeah.
And thus far,
hey, 24 minutes in, still got a clean sheet. That's a small victory.
that had to be the first box to check off if you're Sam Lopes. Keep Georgetown from the early one. But he did tell us that his team has responded better when they've given up a goal this year. The problem is you're going up against a Georgetown side that just doesn't surrender much.
He seemed to think that it was important when they scored. Like the time of the game when they conceded or scored was very important to Sam Lopes.
Because he did tell us Georgetown's going to score.
Yes, he said he came into this one thinking, okay, they're going to score one. How do we get one?
And then you put the two together and you think, okay, more PK shootout magic. Like we said, if you're Sam Lopes, and we told you right now, you get a PK shootout with Georgetown just based on the fact Georgetown, they're just so dominant over the course of 90 minutes, you'd probably sign up for that. Now on the far end, a cross sent into the 6. Still in a dangerous spot as Richards just one hop smashes that one into the hands of Hogan. Really not able to get a firm touch. And for Georgetown, 8 shots in total. 4 of which have been on target, 4 saves for Shelby Hogan, and virtually the entire half thus far in Providence's defending third. It has been the ultimate test for Shelby Hogan.
And what's going to be concerning when they go into halftime is that they have not created a clear chance.
Offside called. Menta was free, but just a little bit off.
Menta's looked like the most dangerous player on the field for Georgetown in these first 27 minutes or so. She's been running at that back line with the ball at her feet. She's been running through, making passes. Menta, looks like she's came to play tonight.
Arachi. That one high in the sky, and Leet gets her mark on the game by punching that one away. I'm sure that felt good for Anna Leet to get involved.
Just to move.
25 degrees outside. Feels a little colder than that. You got the heat on at home?
Oh, you know it.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I got a little guy.
Really?
Yeah.
We're finding new things out about each other as we move into hour 3 or 4. Gorilla kiss from distance, and Leet. That one never really threatened the freshman goalkeeper.
She looks frozen. That is an accurate assessment from the truck. Yes, John Fanta.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Shout out to my boy Reed. Turns 3 in January.
Reed Schreiner, happy early birthday. It's extra early, but
it's extra early.
Birthday number 3 coming up. We hear that Dad's putting together a big celebration.
Yeah, we just got to find out the theme. Who knows what it's going to be this time.
I would love to come.
You're invited, John. If you're in town, I'm sure you'll be around all over the country for basketball games in January.
I'm always in for a birthday party. Jermino Watnick. Left-footed strike and into the hands of Hogan.
Yeah, it's a well-struck ball. It was just straight at Shelby Hogan. She didn't have to move too far to the right to get on the end of it. And if that's a little bit further to Shelby Hogan's right, there's a question there.
Hoyas whistled this time. Mark Buda, our official tonight, with Jamie Walter. Elvis Mutovic. Buda stepping in that time. Less than 16 to go in this first half. Georgetown with a 10-1 shots advantage. Xavier waiting for who they get on Sunday. Now the feed to the back post. It was for Gorilla Kiss. She just couldn't get to it because she was defended so well. Livingstone all over it.
Don't look now, John, but Providence is starting to find some life in attack.
Georgetown is stunned that there's no foul call there on the Friars after Menta looked like took some contact. Here's Jermino Watnick. Doesn't seem to matter for these Hoyas. They keep knocking on the door just outside the area for Trissel. That's out of the reach of Menta.
I think we're going to get our first substitutions of the match.
And they're for the Friars here. Go to Teresa Durkee, the senior, as well as Caitlin Vieira, the grad student, Rhode Island native. So a couple of veterans coming on.
Hey, Vieira is coming. She's on to score a goal. That's what she's brought on to do. 18 career goals in a Providence shirt. So she's a player who can put it in the back of the net when called upon.
You said they're starting to find a rhythm. Maybe she can be the one who can generate some opportunities. Here's Jermino Watnick. Good combination, and Arachi's just playing keep away.
Well, she's just relentless, Jermino Watnick. Just constant activity. You can't fall asleep for even a half second.
On the near side, Richards. Tactical senior, a takedown, and a free kick chance for the Hoyas. A sign of sportsmanship there. That's what it's all about.
And Durkee, who just checked in, had a tough challenge here with Richards getting past her. Had to step in, and then, wow. Upon further review, John, I don't know. It might have been Richards.
Offensive pass interference.
It might have been Richards who did the pushing.
If you had a red flag, I'd tell you not to throw it because it ain't getting overturned. Here's Jenna Menta to the 6. The connection's made and the Hoyas strike. It's Kellyanne Livingstone who makes it 1-0.
And the players are waving in the training staff.
Bittersweet on the goal. Kellyanne Livingstone delivering it But now the Hoyas are in immediate panic. Third goal of the year for Livingstone, who then goes down in pain with the collision with her right leg. She's holding that right ankle right away. One off of Friar Head, John, and then Kellyanne Livingstone giving Georgetown the difference.
Oh.
But that is a rough collision.
She gets her ankle trapped under the knee of Shelby Hogan. You'll see it if you look right there where Hogan's knee goes down. It's going to come down on the ankle of Livingstone. You can't see it from that angle. But, yeah, it's that right ankle that gets trapped under the knee of Shelby Hogan, and she immediately is in pain.
What a moment for Kellyanne Livingstone, the junior with goal number 3 on the campaign. And after all that banging on the door, the Hoyas have the difference, but they are in sadness right now. And Dave Nolan, you can sense his concern as he calls his team off the field because that injury looked nasty. Dave talking to Paula Germino-Watnick, trying to see if they can get Kellyanne Livingstone up. She's such a vital part of this defense. And the junior getting helped off now, favoring the left leg.
Yeah. No weight at all being placed on that right side. She's being totally helped off, and you hate this. You hate this in the postseason for a team that is fighting for a conference championship.
That's as bittersweet as it gets. She favors that right leg, excuse me. You think about it, she scores the goal, coming up with her 3rd of the season, but she just had a smile on her face.
As you put the ball in the back of the net, John.
She's just happy she gave her team that breakthrough because they had been knocking on the door so much, and on their 11th shot, the Hoyas strike as Caitlin Moon comes on.
But that's, that it's the foul giveaway by a player who had just come onto the pitch in Teresa Durkee. We looked at the replay. We don't know if it exactly was a foul or not, but that's the call. She put herself in that position, and then, Georgetown does what Georgetown does. They convert opportunities. If you give them a window, they're going to punch through it.
Well, Providence needs a response, and they need someone to step up. McNulty's been that person all year long. She's close to the ball there as Leak gets rid of it. If you're Georgetown, you go through that moment of you score, you're on a high, you've got a player down injured. You have to remember, there's still 12 and a half minutes left in this first half. And the Friars have one of the best goal scorers in the conference. What some of these injuries have forced, though, is for Georgetown underclassmen to get involved as the season's gone on. Caitlin Moon, the sophomore, now comes on in a big role. She's listed as a forward, but she'll be playing out of natural position here now. The goal coming just moments ago. The 11th shot of the night. The Hoyas, after banging on the door, they were persisting offensively. Kept on putting numbers ahead and get their reward off what was a scramble of a play.
Well, yeah, and, up to that point, John, Providence had answered every question Georgetown had asked. But the defending on the set piece, it just wasn't good enough. It went past 3 people who didn't touch it, and 2 of those were wearing Providence colors. So It's a moment when you don't get your body in the right spot, and hey, credit to Georgetown for taking it.
Well, Sam Lopes had confidence in his team's ability to respond. And that's exactly what the case now is. Menta. She had a shot if she liked it. Couple of combinations made, and the Friars get rid of it. I think at this point, John, of course it's obvious you don't want to go 2-0. But if you're the Friars, getting into the locker room, a little bit of warmth can't come quick enough now with 10 and change to go, because not only is Georgetown up 1-0, they've just controlled the way this game's been played.
Yeah, it's backs to the wall pretty much the whole first half. They had a brief period right before Georgetown scored that goal where it looked like their attack was coming to life.
On the back post, that one planted in for Moon. Just couldn't make the connection. Good thought, though.
The ball in the back of the net looks like it's re-energized Georgetown again. They're right back on the front foot where they were for the first 20 minutes of this game.
Nine and change left in this first half. Georgetown 1, Providence 0. Casey Richards. Friars take it back. It's Grillikis. Georgetown just pestering defensively when you do get possession as Durkee fed that one ahead. And it'll be a Friar throw-in. Arachi just lays it back. That's a good ball in the middle. Rodriguez. This is the most the Friars have sent ahead on the back, John.
Well, they kind of have to now. I mean, you can't play for the draw at this point. You've got to score. And to do so, you've got to have an attack.
This is the most sustained possession we've seen in this first half, and a ball on the right side here. Arachi feeds it in. Back to the other end, a shot, and this floater off target. Still, that second, third, fourth look was there. Olivia Lucia firing offline.
Yeah, you'd like to have that one back. That's an opportunity to put one on frame.
This one over the top. Off the foot of McNulty. That's just a case for Hannah McNulty to try to get a shot fired off. Well, let's think about Xavier for a moment. The regular season champion who won the semifinal opener 2-0. What are they thinking right now as they're watching this?
Right now I think they're probably still on the high of winning that match and making it to that.
I'm going to play devil's advocate and say, knowing Nate Lee, he is passionate. He's full of energy. He wants to win this championship. I mean, he's probably flipped the page a little bit.
He'll give them 90 minutes, John, to celebrate. They'll get right back to work in the morning.
John Schreiner, my partner. I'm John Fanta. Great to have you with us from chilly Omaha. Temperatures in the mid-20s. The heat worked well in my room last night. That was a big plus.
That's a plus when that happens. It's, when the heater works, it's nothing to write home about. It's when it doesn't work.
Oh, God. Yeah, things can go bad. As Anna Leet, the heater will be on in her room. She hasn't really had an opportunity to come up big in this game yet, simply because the Friars yet to put a major opportunity on target. Coming up at the half, the latest in Big East fall sports. Stage is set for the men's soccer championship. Cross country was last weekend. We'll talk about the winners from that. It's a busy time of year in the Big East. Hoops starting up. Speaking of Xavier, in women's basketball, Melanie Moore leads the Musketeers past Utah tonight for her first win as the Xavier head coach. Congratulations to Coach Moore.
Nicely done.
She is a game changer for that program and the way she's brought energy to the squad. You had Creighton in Omaha the other night.
I did. I had that one.
This is that time of year where we go from sport to sport.
We do.
On a daily basis, if not the same day.
Sometimes on the same day. That's right. And Creighton is a lot of familiar faces back from last season. Just one big one missing.
Audrey Faber was pretty darn good.
That's the one.
Here's Dave Nolan. He's a familiar face. He's classic. Dave Nolan should play himself in a movie because nobody plays him better. He's got a persona. He's the dean of Big East women's soccer. 2 college cups in the last 3 years. Need we say more? It's unbelievable.
Hey, if you get one in a 3-year span, you got to be feeling pretty good.
And let's dive more into that because the casual fan watching right now might not understand the task, especially in college soccer. To get to the College Cup, Dave Nolan said it too, you do need a little bit of fortune as Richards crosses this one and Hogan's there because the scoreboard doesn't always tell the story of how a game is played. And yet for Georgetown, they've told it in every way, the way a game's played and the board at the end.
Well, I mean, just think about, if you're not a regular fan of collegiate soccer, you say, oh, College Cup, fine, whatever. He made 2 in 3 years. Great. How many college basketball teams make it to the Final Four twice out of 3 years? I mean, I don't have the exact figures, but I would say it's probably not many.
No, I mean, the one team, ironically enough, is Villanova with the 2 championships in 3 years. But that's rare. And I don't know how many times we're going to see that with the way the sport continually evolves and offers Loyola Chicago a chance to make a Final Four. But that's a point right there. I mean, you can have a team go on a crazy run out of nowhere.
You run into a team on a hot streak, and it doesn't matter what seed you are, right? Your path looks one way, and all of a sudden it's different.
Dave Nolan's got this program in the right place to head to an 8th straight NCAA tournament. In the last 11 years for Georgetown, they've set records for wins with 21 last year. They've set the Big East win total 3 times, 8 in 2018, 11 in 2008. They had 17 shutouts in 2017 and 2016. That's unbelievable. And then managed to win 14 straight in that span. 2.5 left in this first half. The amazing thing as well, in 16 years, Dave Nolan has coached 61 all Big East selections. It's good to see that. Kellyanne Livingstone up and running after scoring for the 3rd time this season. The junior is all smiles, even when she was banged up. I mean, you'd be happy too if you scored your team's go-ahead, potentially a game winner.
Yeah, she still looked to be favoring that right leg as she was running, but perhaps she's gone to the bench, gotten cold, and doesn't hurt so bad anymore. Like she's like living in an ice pack right now.
Good to see that it wasn't a serious injury because Georgetown's had to deal with those. Boo Jackson out for the year. So unfortunate because she's been an amazing talent all season long for these Hoyas. For Kellyanne Livingstone to step up. 3 goals now in the season after scoring 2 all of last year. She was a Big East all-freshman right from the get-go for this program. And she's got the perfect favorite athlete as well in Mia Hamm.
The favorite athlete.
Now up the field, Lucia was looking to make the connection. A bit of a collision there, and the Friars' Elena Grillikis was upset. She thought she got collided with there. Final minute of this first half with Georgetown up 1-0. The goal in the 32nd, Kelly Ann Livingstone off a scramble on a set play. Julia Leese and Karsten Neiselek with the assists. And the Georgetown juniors the difference. So if you're Sam Lopes, what are you telling your team at the half?
Yeah, it's one moment, right? There's one moment where the defense slacked off. And that's the difference right now from this being 0-0 and you being right on track to where you want to be versus trailing 1-0. So what I'm telling my team is we gave them one moment. Let's get our moment. We just need one moment just like that. We need a set piece in the attacking third. We need one quality final pass to send Hannah McNulty in on goal. We're one moment away still from this being level.
Georgetown has the one moment. That is the decider thus far. 1-0 Hoyas at the half as Georgetown is on a mission for 4 straight Big East tournament crowns this week. It was a physical first half. And on the set piece in the 32nd, a scramble, and then Kellyanne Livingstone's knee got to it. All smiles, though, because she's got the goal and she's recovering from that injury. No recovery needed for these Hoyas. The Dynasty leads 1-0 at the break.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
What is a Villanovan? In 30 seconds? Well, Villanovans aim high. Top 50 National University high. We think fast and stay connected. V's up. Villanovans think deeply, push boundaries, and go, go, go! Still with me? We climb corporate ladders in these ladders. This campus is our home, but you can find us almost anywhere. Villanovans have big hearts and solve even bigger problems, and we celebrate together. Ignite change, go Nova.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.
This is the quickest a score bug is ever going to be on a Big East Digital Network broadcast. It's 1-0 Georgetown, but here's what we care about. Murillo Cirilli, our utility tonight on the show, is staying as warm as he possibly can. My question is, does he have a burger or a dog he can throw on there?
I don't know, but you know what? The burgers at the concessions here at Morrison Stadium are excellent.
There we go. Murillo, thanks for staying warm. Oh, I don't even know. You brought this up. What's up with the heaters here in 25-degree temperatures? Do they really work?
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're standing right next to it for the entire half, you might have warmth up to about your knees. But as soon as you're running onto the pitch, that's all over. It's very cold out there today.
Postgame promotion, Murillo just was in my ear telling me he just got marshmallows. So if you're looking for some s'mores after tonight's game, you can head down there with him. Don't go back into your heated home. Have a s'more in Omaha. Let's talk some soccer. He's John Schreiner. I'm John Fanta. It's 1-0 Georgetown at the half on Providence. The Hoyas have been the queen of Big East soccer with 3 straight Big East tournament titles, and they started this championship right where they left off.
Well, they did. It was constant pressure throughout that first half. Providence had their back against the wall for, 40 of the 45 minutes in that first half and just peppered the goal with some shots. Shelby Hogan did come up with some really good saves at the back. And, boy, this Georgetown squad looks every bit as advertised. And Providence, though, job almost done. They were one moment away from getting into the half tied. A questionable foul call, and then the free kick that results in the goal. So not too bad, really, the situation for Providence.
The goal scored by junior Kelly Ann Livingstone, the junior's third of the season. Let's look at Providence, because Sam Lopes felt like his team could respond if that moment occurred where they needed to. How do they respond?
Well, I think Hannah McNulty is the key up front. They've got to get her involved somehow. It's been a struggle to break that Georgetown press. They've got to find a way, moving the ball outside, back inside, letting McNulty run on, and she's got to be very active. And it's tough in a match where you're isolated at the top, your team is pegged back for an entire half. It gets lonely up there as a center forward, so she's got to just stay active, stay positive, and always maintain that optimistic attitude that something's going to come through for her.
Divine Providence is always in the air. It's just a matter of if the Friars can find it here tonight at Morrison. Thus far, though, it's the reigning conference tournament champions who have flexed their muscles. Xavier Wade, the winner of this one. 45 down, 45 to go. Georgetown up 1-0. Coming up, we'll look at other Big East fall sports headlines here from Omaha. This is the Big East Women's Soccer Championship driven by Jeep.
What is a Villanovan in 30 seconds? Well, Villanovan's aim high. Top 50 National University high. We think fast and stay connected. V's up. Villanovans think deeply, push boundaries, and go, go, go! Still with me? We climb corporate ladders and these ladders. This campus is our home, but you can find us almost anywhere. Villanovans have big hearts and solve even bigger problems, and we celebrate together. Ignite change, go Nova.
Back here at the half of the Big East Women's Soccer Championship semifinals, driven by Jeep, right here on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi. John Fanta here with you from Omaha, and what a season it was in Big East Women's Soccer. Georgetown is looking for a four-peat this weekend in the tournament, but they are not the top seed. Xavier is, as we take a look at some of the conference's top award winners, and they are spread across this league with stars. Let's look at the all-conference second team. And who stands out? Julia Lease. She's part of the wall for Georgetown. One of 3 Hoyas on the second team. There's a couple of Musketeers as well. Kristen Barber for Villanova, and then Skylar Heinrich for Creighton. She is flat out quick as they come in the way that she attacked. Here's the all-freshman team. Heinrich, she's part of a stellar freshman class in the conference. Anna Lead also comes to mind for Georgetown, what she's been able to do in the cage. And then you've got a St. John's midfielder in Isabel Aviza. The Johnnies were young this year, but watch out for Aviza in the future for the Red Storm program under Ian Stone. Here's the first team, and these are the big names in the conference. 3 Hoyas. It feels like they've been around forever, and Jermino Watnick, Carolyn, and Nally. How about those 2 Butler Bulldogs? Annika Schmidt, part of a really stout defense. Katie Soderstrom, she gets it done in the attack. And then you've got Samantha Dewey, Grace Barr for Xavier. Shelby Hogan also comes to mind in goal. As we look at the major award winners in this conference, Bryce McEnroy also highlighting things. And, man, Johnny Kajan in Queens, she is a joy to watch for St. John's. Just wills them throughout. When you overtake Georgetown in this conference for a championship, you get the Big East Coaching Staff of the Year. Nate Lee and his staff in year 3 have delivered, and that is why he and his staff got that honor from the Big East Conference. A 14-win campaign. Xavier's just 1 win away from setting a new program record with 15. Skylar Heinrich, Women's Soccer Freshman of the Year, delivering a double-digit amount of goals this season for the Blue Jays. And I'll tell you what, watching this conference throughout the season, nobody was quicker than Skylar Heinrich. It's scary to think she's a freshman for Ross Poly. The future is bright for the Jays, and she's their foundation. In the midfield, Paula Jermino Watnick. The game just goes at her speed. She is a perfectionist. Dave Nolan's told us about that, and that might be her biggest flaw. Jermino Watnick will graduate with a degree in medicine. She's got a future there like mom and dad, but she might have a professional career for a bit of time as well with how strong she is. The senior will be missed. Defensively, so will Megan Nally. Part of the winningest senior class in Georgetown program history. The Hoyas, they are so stout in the back. Nally gets it done for them time and again. As for the Offensive Player of the Year in this league, it was tight, tough, but at the end of the day, it goes to Johnny Kajan. What she did for St. John's throughout this season. You talk about someone who wills a team. The Johnnies going to Villanova and winning this year. It's one of the highlight comeback victories by any team in the Big East. That was all Johnny Kajan taking over. The redshirt junior, it'll be exciting to see her back next year for Ian Stone. Shelby Hogan in net for the Friars, a junior who has been so tremendous in the cage. When talking to Sam Lopes about her, he says, Shelby gets it all done in terms of the explosive plays, but what makes her different now as a junior is her footwork and her connection with the back line. Those are your major award winners. We'll look at Big East men's soccer, cross country, and volleyball coming up here on the Big East Digital Network Halftime Report.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
You are looking live at Morrison Stadium here in frigid Omaha, Nebraska, as the Big East Halftime Report rolls on here on the BEDM, presented by SoFi. John Fanta here with you from the broadcast booth. And a reminder, right here at Morrison, there will be a Big East first-round showdown in men's soccer when Creighton takes on Butler. The Big East men's soccer first round will come on Saturday at noon Eastern time. Earlier in the day, Providence will take on Marquette. The winner between Providence and Marquette will play St. John's and Queens. The winner between Creighton and Butler will travel to D.C. to take on Georgetown. The Jays might face Butler and Georgetown a total of 4 times combined. Literally the same exact schedule they've just played in the last week. They could end up playing in the upcoming week, with Butler coming in Saturday, just like last week, and then potentially a Wednesday date with the Hoyas. So an interesting note there in Big East men's soccer, as Georgetown and St. John's will sit at home this weekend awaiting those winners. That'll be on the Big East Digital Network this Saturday, by the way, for the Big East men's soccer first round. Let's look at cross country. It was this past weekend in Wisconsin. And on the men's side, it was Villanova who came out with the title. The Wildcats getting it done with their depth. And for Villanova, what a big moment for them to end a 4-year run. The new men's champions. On the women's side, it was Butler. Julia Royston and the Dogs getting it done, ending a 2-year run by Villanova. And for Butler women's cross country, what a defining moment for that program to come out with their first Big East championship. The second half of the Big East women's soccer semifinals is next from Omaha.
What is a Villanovan in 30 seconds? Well, Villanovans aim high. Top 50 National University high. We think fast and stay connected. V's up. Villanovans think deeply, push boundaries, and go, go, go! Still with me? We climb corporate ladders and these ladders. This campus is our home, but you can find us almost anywhere. Villanovans have big hearts and solve even bigger problems, and we celebrate together. Ignite change, go Nova.
On this frigid night in Omaha, the Georgetown Hoyas are 45 minutes away from returning to a 4th consecutive Big East championship game appearance for this program. They lead Providence 1-0 heading into this second half. Dave Nolan never stops coaching his group.
That is true. And the former Ireland youth player, I believe he's got a little bit of fire in his veins.
Absolutely.
I believe so.
And a huge Liverpool fan. He loves watching his international soccer, bonds over the other coaches in this league. They may have disagreements in terms of the level of competition and facing each other on the field, but when they get together on the road, often they're meeting up at the bar to watch some sort of a soccer game.
That's amazing. Those are the stories, you know. And I mean, I love the EPL too, so Dave and I can argue about Liverpool and Chelsea.
How about Sam Lopes? He said that the culture of this program, he'll leave it up to his players to try to form that rally, and you see he puts it in the hands of his players. It's in the hands of Shelby Hogan now to keep Georgetown from a cushion. Yeah,
and she's got to obviously be protected a little bit by that back line. The goal that was scored from the free kick by Georgetown, that wasn't necessarily Shelby Hogan's failing. I mean, it went past 2 Providence players who might have made a play on the ball but didn't. And it ended up at the foot of Kellyanne Livingstone, who was able to put it away. Shelby Hogan was good in that first half. She's going to have to be just as good, if not better, in the second if Providence is to come out of here with the victory.
We've talked about Hannah McNulty and Elena Gerlakis. Those two have been the main pieces in the attack. Sometimes the tournament brings out a new hero, and with how good Georgetown's defense is, perhaps that's what it may take tonight for one of the youth.
Someone in the offing that's going to have to come in and make a play. You know, somebody we don't even expect to see, but just one of those off-the-radar players, a Lisa Verhoeven perhaps.
An all Big East freshman. Verhoeven's had a strong season for the Friars.
Yana Braun, who doesn't have a goal in the season, now would be the time to break that duck and put one in the back of the net.
Georgetown in the gray, Providence in the black. The Friars looking for a comeback against a Hoyas program that lost to this Providence side back in 2015 on this very stage. Tonight, a senior class that knows nothing else but winning in the Big East tournament. 45 away from heading to a fourth consecutive Big East title match. That will come Sunday on FS1, 4 Eastern Time, 3 Central. Shelby Hogan hopes that she can be the spark. That's what she's been all season for Providence. They need one offensively, but she has been that constant. Xavier awaiting the winner of this battle. Musketeers impressive in their efforts. 2-0. The win over Villanova, and they did it with their depth. It really was a showcase of why they won the Big East regular season title. Now 6 consecutive wins for that program.
They played almost every player they brought, didn't they? I mean, it was close. If they didn't get to every one, they certainly got close, and it was a pretty dominating performance for most of the match by Xavier.
Jermino Watnick, beautiful move on the cross. Now the feed into the box. Still on the right side, it's Menta who lays this one off. Nizelek feeds it back, and the Hoyas sending numbers ahead for a shot off target.
And Casey Richards would like to do better with that one, I'm sure, after the great build-up play through several Hoyas passing it around the edge of the box, and she finds herself in space and just doesn't hit it with enough quality.
How about Georgetown's patience in the box?
Yeah, that it's almost professional, you know, the way that they're able to set up around the box. You see it in the professional leagues where they're able to just pass it around at the edge of the box looking for a way through. You don't see it out of collegiate teams too often.
Now the Friars with a burst. Grillakis, 5 goals on the year. Grillakis with a left-footed strike. It was rejected by Nally.
You see that? It looked like Providence was in a good attacking position. Looked like they were going to create a chance, but there was not a moment's panic on that Georgetown backline. They were just solid, steady, waited for the moment to clear, stood their ground, didn't even let the ball get through to the keeper.
Right side in the area, bulleted away by Nally. And the official signaling for a Friar throw.
Got to create something off of this. This is an attacking throw-in.
McNulty lays it back, and harmless this time. They would have liked to do more with that opportunity.
It's just not good enough. I mean, you're going to have to convert some of those. You're going to have to make chances out of those half opportunities if you're going to beat Georgetown. They're not going to give you one. And if they do happen to give you one, you better take it.
Now with numbers ahead, the Friars, they lost the regular season meeting to Georgetown 4-0. Tonight's gone differently. They've hung tough. A header to the middle of the box. And the initial shot blocked from McNulty. And Georgetown coming up with the stop. As much as the junior, she's not happy. Thought she got contact.
Yeah, she at the very least, I think, wanted a corner. She thought the second one was blocked as well.
This is the most sustained we've seen Providence in possession, though. They have tilted the field a little bit in recent moments. McNulty from distance to the back post. That one just couldn't stay on target into that Omaha frigid breeze. Nonetheless, the Friars are finding their main offensive piece.
Well, I like it, for McNulty. Give it a go. You don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it's spilled at the back, comes off the post, lands at the foot of one of your players. Just give it a go.
This is Providence College women's soccer. They make you earn it. They're tough. Sam Lopes has bred an incredible culture in Friartown. A we, not me approach. And what he's done with this program in the 6 straight Big East tournament appearances, 3 consecutive semifinals.
Now, we asked him, John, if he was at all surprised with the youth of his bunch that they had made it to this point. And he said, not really. He was just a little surprised at how they got here. He figured when they had that big loss at the end of the season to St. John's, he figured their season was over. And, he said it was a nice surprise, and he was happy, and they felt kind of like they had a new lease on life after all of those wild happenings on the final weekend.
John Fanta, John Schreiner with you here from Omaha. We've closed up the press box window
we did that
after a rich amount of discussion.
Yeah, because
a lot
John,
that went into that.
There's a difference between toughness and stupidity.
Hey, that Perkins sign looks nice.
You down for some bacon and eggs? Is that what
well,
you're
it
saying,
said they
John?
were open for 24 hours. Might have to get another look at that. Good shot from our crew. It's going to be a corner kick for Georgetown.
Get you a strawberry waffle and a cup of coffee.
We could use it right now. Corner for the Hoyas, their 5th of the evening. Flown in, top of the area, and headed away.
Again, Providence still committing everybody back on those set pieces. They're still not willing to push forward and hope for a run out trailing by a goal.
When do you have to be willing?
I mean, once we get inside of about 20 minutes, 15 minutes or so left in the match, if it's still a 1-goal match, then you've got to kind of throw caution to the wind a little bit. If you haven't created chances against the run of play, then you've got to start taking some calculated risks, and that's one that you can probably get away with on a set piece, is leaving a player up high, maybe putting one out, near the circle, so that you've got 2 players to work off of if you can clear it up to them. But, I think Sam Lopes still feels like, hey, it's just we're still 1 moment away. It's not time to take those risks yet.
Grilakis on the give and go. Elena so strong in that regard, and a left-footed laser right into the hands of Annalete.
And I think if she watches this tape back, she's going to wish that she had seen Caitlin Vieira, who was making a run right to the penalty spot. If she just plays a little left-footed curler right along the ground in front of that penalty spot, Vieira's going to have a great opportunity. Took it herself instead.
Caitlin Vieira, a graduate student from Warwick, Rhode Island, stayed home for college. And Vieira plays such a vital role in the attack as the offside flag is up. On the other side here, if you're Dave Nolan, you've got to at least be a little bit concerned in that this second half thus far has gone totally different from the first.
Yeah, Providence has made some adjustments. They've put some different looks to Georgetown. They've done a nice job clearing it out of the back.
Here comes Jenna Menta. Menta with the feed to the back post. It was everything but the finish as Carolyn raced in And if she gets a foot on it, that's the insurance.
Yeah, that's probably the game right there if Carolyn gets a toe on this ball.
How about Jenna Menta's level of activity out wide? She has given the Providence defense fits.
I'm going to start to agree with Dave Nolan in asking questions about her not making either first or second team All Big East. Look at that delivery. I mean, that's on a dime. Carolyn just couldn't quite sort the feet out.
Hogan all over it. What impresses you about Hogan?
She's just always in the right spot, John. I mean, like I pointed out on one of the replays in the first half, she's in the right spot with her feet set before the attacking player is ready to shoot. And the positioning is just excellent, and, you know, that's a start. You can be a great shot stopper, but if you're not in the right position to make the stop, it doesn't really matter.
Ball ahead for Menta. Menta trying to get free and was unable to. That was tremendous defense by the Friars.
It's Verhoeven.
The All Big East freshman stepping up.
She was in a physical battle with Menta right there and just barely came out the better.
Now out wide, another feed in. And Georgetown starting to tilt the field back towards Providence's defensive third. Now out wide on the far end. The Friars just trying to get rid of it. McNulty hoping that Georgetown has the rarest of missteps. Nizelek lays it off. Into the box now for Georgetown, a right-footed strike. What a brilliant goal to make it 2-0. The Hoyas, a potential dagger for Georgetown with their second goal of the night. What a strike from the left end of the box. And it was Amanda Carolyn who delivered, John, for the senior. What a goal for her 11th of the campaign.
Yeah, and look, I don't care what kind of goalkeeper you are. Good luck stopping that. That is top corner, far post from the opposite corner of the box. Just forget about it. That is the perfect shot. I mean, they say, you know, the perfect shot doesn't exist. Well, Amanda Carolyn proved you wrong. That is it.
The All Big East first team selection, delivering her 11th of the campaign. That was outstanding.
You asked when it was time for Providence to start taking some of those risks, John?
Now's the time.
Now's the time.
Oh, was that a strike from Carolyn?
Something else. Sublime, as they might say across the pond.
She's now tied for second with 11 goals on the season. And if Georgetown finishes this off, you get a matchup of the top two scorers in the conference in the title game, potentially on Sunday, with Samantha Dewey leading Xavier.
Boy, the way this is shaping up, 1 versus 2, Xavier, Georgetown. We said it earlier, old guard versus new blood.
It's got all the storylines that you would try to write in Hollywood. It could come Sunday in Omaha. Still a lot of time to play, though. Carolyn looking for more, and Hogan eats this one up. How about the strike from Carolyn? We talk about Georgetown's patience in the box. That doesn't mean that they can put together that brilliant finish, and that's all Carolyn's done throughout her career.
That was one to watch. Certainly delivering in a big moment. Just when, you know, I think Providence was starting to feel pretty good about how the second half was going. Might have been getting some of that belief back. Carolyn comes through and erases all of it.
Dave Nolan called Amanda Carolyn one of the greatest kids he's ever coached at Georgetown. You think about it, he's coached 61 All Big East selections in his career. it stands out when he says something like that. He said Amanda's selfless and team first. In fact, he has to tell her sometimes she's got to be more selfish. Well, that wasn't selfishness. That was just a player using her best talent to put her 11th goal through. Now from the right side, a left-footed strike over the cage off the foot of Jenna Royson.
Hey, Royson, I mean, you just look up and down the starting lineup for Georgetown, and there's goal scorers everywhere. And Royson, who normally plays in defense, she's got 4 on the season. And you see why with that kind of a strike. Just a little bit underneath it, but right on target.
Jenna Royson, a sophomore, the future of this Hoyas program. Now here's Jermina Watnick. She just glides when she's on the field. Senior laying it off. Nizalek up ahead. Here's Royson again. Royson laying it back for Lease. Now on the near end. Royson to Jermina Watnick. The connectivity of this Hoyas program is special. Royson back off to the edge. Here's Carolyn, and just too tough of a touch. Less than 30 to go here in regulation. Georgetown 2, Providence 0, and the Friars can taste it. A 4th consecutive Big East tournament final appearance. It would be their first at Morrison Stadium after 3 straight years of a championship game at home, Shaw Field.
Would be a little different feeling, but I'm sure that the likes of Xavier would appreciate a higher seed home game this year especially.
Temperature set to be in the high 30s, around 40 at kickoff Sunday. That's good news, considering we're in the mid-20s right now.
Yeah, and hopefully some sunshine.
Oh, the header away. Sam Lopes not happy on that collision. Ended up being a clean play, though. Is right side of the box now, and the shot deflected off of Hoya. Came in off the foot of Vieira, and it's a Providence corner, the first of the night, and Sam Lopes is really upset.
We'll see if we can see what exactly happened here. I mean, they're both kind of jumping at an angle. The Georgetown player makes contact, but makes contact with the ball almost simultaneously. It's 50-50 at best. I mean, you could see it being called or not called, to be honest.
Well said. Totally agree with you. I think that's a fine no call, just based on the situation. Providence has to be careful here. Down the left end.
No, that's the difference right now, John, is as Arachi cut inside, she had 2 options to pass to. She had both Vieira and McNulty making that angling run, and she had a lane to pass into, but instead she found the Georgetown player who was trailing both of them. The final ball through. Georgetown's done it. Providence just hasn't.
Amanda Carolyn drilling her 11th goal of the year home from the left side of the box, going to the far post. A brilliant strike to make it 2-0. Potentially the dagger in the 57th minute. Kellyanne Livingstone got the Hoyas on the board in the 32nd. 25 minutes later, it's the senior in Carolyn. Might have removed any doubt remaining because Georgetown has only allowed 16 goals on the year. They just don't get scored on much. And looking now for what would be a 10th shutout this season if it stays at 2-0. Xavier has 11. How many times do you get two teams meeting for a conference title with a combined 21?
So you're telling me it's going to be a shootout?
That's exactly what I'm saying. There's a ball lasered ahead.
If there's ever been a game that is unlikely to finish 4-4,
it's that one.
It's that one.
The patience of this Georgetown team stands out so much to me, John.
No, they can afford it right now, but
even when it was scoreless.
They've been that way the whole match. I mean, they'll hold possession, take their time to build the attack, but they're building it not out of the back, because when they've gotten it in the back, they've kind of pushed it forward, and then once they get the ball in the midfield, that's when they slow down and really start to just dissect the defense. I've seen them so many times tonight, just with those cutting balls from midfield up to the forwards that have really tested the Providence backline most of this match.
Rodriguez, with space, was trying to lay it over to Vieira, but got cut off and got taken away by the Hoyas. And Jermino Watnick takes over, and here they come again.
How about that collector's item? A poor pass from Paula Jermino Watnick.
Rare. And not something Dave Nolan's collecting. He's got enough collectibles at his house.
Of the positive variety? He doesn't need the negative ones? Is that what you're saying, John?
He's good.
He's good on that?
He's good. We'll have post-game reaction from the winning team after this one. John Schreiner will be down on the sidelines. Then we'll close it out. Set the table briefly for Championship Sunday. Jermino Watnick took a little bit of contact. She's a magnet to the ball. Here's Menta out wide. A service from Menta to the 6 and headed out by the Friars. Jermino Watnick with a touch. Back to Paula Jermino Watnick. Jermino Watnick lets it fly off of the crossbar. And that would have been the exclamation point had that gone through.
Tell me another player that's 5'3" that can generate that much shot power. I mean, that is a rocket of a shot. Hogan does get a touch on it before it hits the crossbar, but my goodness. Compact package. Paula Jermino Watnick is dynamite.
They have put on a show tonight in Omaha. How about these Georgetown Hoyas? The senior class en route to their 79th career win. How fitting would it be on Sunday if they won? That would be 80 wins as a class.
You know what's really strange about this is they're going to go into the final, and they, for the first time in a long time, are going to get to believe that they're the underdogs as the 2 seed.
They'll be in the road uniforms.
You know, Georgetown, underdog. Two things you don't combine in the same sentence very often in women's soccer.
Xavier winning the last 5 in the regular season to claim the regular season title. Richards headed back out. Opportunity for a shot here, and this one off target. Off the foot of Carson Nizelek, who's such a stout midfielder. Another one of the seniors in this class. Nizelek. When she's on, Dave Nolan says she's the game changer for us to possess.
She's just so experienced. 85 now, 86 career appearances. Among the career active leaders in the NCAA right now in appearances. And that's just invaluable stuff when you get to this time of year.
Think about that, folks. 85 now, 86 appearances, as John just said. You're talking about a senior class that's on the cusp of a 79th career win. It's unbelievable.
They don't taste defeat too often, Georgetown.
Oh, and there's been times where teams have gotten close to knocking them off. It's the way that they handle those moments of adversity that's most impressive. Creighton had them.
2-0. There was a 2-0 game at the half.
Didn't matter. And if you're wondering, how is Georgetown the 2 seed in this? Well, it's because 12-3-3 overall record, but a 3-match winless streak. So rare. Over 11 days. Hoyas beat Xavier 2-1. So they took the regular season meeting with the Musketeers. Then a draw to Creighton, 2-2. Exact opposite at Butler, scoreless draw. And then at DePaul, losing 1-0 here. Now outside the box, a shot. That's over. For the Hoyas, they just keep on launching, though. That one off the foot of Sarah Trissel, the unsung hero of this group. That now marks 15 shots for Georgetown to just 8 for the Friars. And the bigger advantage is 8 on target for the Hoyas. That to 3.
It's been a thorough performance from Georgetown up to this point. And with under 20 minutes to go, I mean, I haven't seen a sign that Providence is going to be able to flip this. And as we said, no team in the last 3 years of Big East soccer has scored more than 2 on Georgetown. If they score 2, they win. Or at the very least get a draw, as we saw against Creighton earlier this season.
Off that set piece, planted one towards the 6. Laid off. Now into the area, and the Friars able to defend this successfully. Providence down 2-0. Having to play in their defensive third here again. Georgetown has their mindset on a third. Gralakis, she's put together a tremendous season as a sophomore. Will be somebody to watch in her junior season. You just see how Georgetown tracks everything down. There's Sarah Trissel. There's a moment where the unsung hero sings.
Well, I was just about to make that point, John. I mean, it looked like a chance at a breakaway opportunity for Providence, and suddenly there are 3 gray shirts around Gralakis. They just track back so well. They work so hard. That's what makes a great team. It's the combination of great skill with that willingness to do the dirty work, to pay attention to the little things and never slack off, even when you're up 2-0.
Jermina Watnick on back to Trissel. And just laid off. It's hard enough right now for the Friars to just gain possession in their back line. Now splitting through Royson. We talk about that week layoff that you can have off the bye when you're a top 2 seed. For Georgetown, it's clear that it was a good thing for them. They have regained their attacking mindset and their organization.
They looked sharp tonight. They looked sharp, mentally focused.
Now a spinner off the head of Royson. Jermina Watnick lays it back. Left-footed strike to the far post. This one out for a goal kick, and Hogan now wants to work quickly.
And Casey Richards has been involved all night long, John Fanta. She's just done such a nice job. Jermina Watnick with great touch in the midfield. Here comes Georgetown once again. Turned over, Providence. Try to bring it back the other way. McNulty all alone up top. Played through. That Georgetown back line comes through as they have done all night long. Heel flick from Menta doesn't quite come off. Providence will work it back. Here's Rothman. Launched ahead, looking for Gralakis, running on. Just a moment looked like she might get to it.
Well, for Anna Leach, she wouldn't trade this for the world in that she hasn't been tested much tonight. 3 shots on target. If you're the freshman keeper, what more could you ask for? To have Carolyn and Jermino Watnick leading the offense on the other side.
Well, nothing really. I mean, her back line's been really good. They've protected her all night long. She hasn't faced, difficult chances. She's been, it's been a comprehensive performance by the players in front of her. Nothing to complain about.
"15 minutes left to go here from chilly Omaha, Nebraska. Big East Women's Soccer Tournament semifinals. Xavier handling business as a top seed. 2-0 over Villanova. A business-like approach from the Musketeers. They set the tone and never let up. And now here tonight, we've seen the past champion the last 3 years in this tournament flex their muscles again and assert that while they're the 2 seed, they are still the team with that trophy until someone takes it from them. John Fanta, John Schreiner, our producer Ryan McGahey, Joe Willman, Brad Pace, his Great Rush Media crew, and big time credit goes to our cameramen tonight and our crew on the field as this ball sent ahead for Jenna Menta. Jenna Menta free, and Jenna Menta saved by Hogan as the Big East Goalkeeper of the Year comes up clutch.
Big moment right there for Hogan. Says just a great job. And look, John, she's in perfect position. Gets the feet, choppy steps so that she can make a move if she needs to, not taking any long strides. The technique for Hogan is so good.
The 9 other Big East coaches would prefer if Shelby Hogan were a senior. She's still got her senior season ahead next year as the Friars, you can see the fatigue there just settling for allowing a corner here. It'll be the 7th of the night. This has been an onslaught of opportunities. But Hogan, she just showed us why she's the top keeper in this conference.
It might be 3 or 4 with a lesser keeper. I mean, she has really halved the number of goals that Georgetown could have scored tonight.
Shelby Hogan, 110 saves on her junior season. Here's the corner to the 6, and Hogan locks it up. Of course she does.
That's just great reading of the game and then fighting through traffic to get there. So many goalkeepers, especially when they're young, they're afraid to come out on some of those corner kicks because they're afraid that they, if they don't win the ball, they're going to give it away, and it's going to be an easy tap-in goal. But a confident, experienced keeper knows how to fight through that traffic, rise up above everyone. Nobody can jump as high as you can reach. I mean, right? If you jump and they jump, their head is not getting to the top of your hands. If you time your jump appropriately, which is part of the equation, you should be able to beat anyone to the ball.
Rogers. This one headed back to the near side, and Georgetown seeking that 10th clean sheet on the season. They had 17 2 years ago. Amazing. Ariel Scheckman was such an incredible goalkeeper. And it says a lot that Anna Leet's been able to come in and take over right in stride. Speaking of Leet, she's got it now.
That's, John, in one play, kind of summed up the night for Providence. It's a pass that was an inch too long, a run that was a step too late, and a Georgetown player that was right where she needed to be.
(2-0 Georgetown. If you're just joining us, the Hoyas scoring in the 32nd. Kellyanne Livingstone off a scramble on a set piece, assisted by Julia Lease and Carson Nizelek. Livingstone went off her left knee. She was right out in front of the cage and found a way to beat Hogan. And then 25 minutes later, Amanda Carolyn had a moment of brilliance. 20 yards out to the right. That's where Carolyn was, and she delivered her 11th of the season. That very well could be the dagger.
Yeah, if you see a sweeter strike than the one that Carolyn hit, you better remember it, because Carolyn's hit was a thing of beauty.
Rodriguez. Just taken back by the Hoyas, as it has been all night long. What a performance by Georgetown.
You know, as I'm watching games from our broadcast perch, John, when a player has the ball, I try to think about what's the right pass, right? As I see it, what's the right pass? And we have, obviously, the bird's eye view. We can see what might be the right pass. More often than not, when I'm watching Georgetown play, they're making that right pass. They're seeing the open player. Rather than trying to force it in somewhere, they're making the smart play, making the appropriate pass that we don't see sometimes from other teams.
And on the flip side, they're anticipating every pass Providence is about to make in the midfield. They have cut off a number of those tonight. Defensively, they've been so in sync as well, as they have been throughout these past years. But tonight, before we even see that second, third, fourth ball come through, they're seeing everything on that end too.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a credit to when they're going up against the offensive players in practice. When you see players that are at that level, I think it only helps.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron, right? That's the saying. And the back line for Georgetown has read the game exceptionally well tonight.
Dave Nolan can't believe it. It's whistled for the Friars on the throw. McNulty. You can sense the junior just trying to let one loose and see what happens.
Yeah, it's always going to be a wing and a prayer from that distance and that angle, and that's probably a little bit of frustration creeping in as well. She just hasn't been afforded the kind of opportunities that she needs and that she thrives on.
Xavier awaiting the winner of this one for Sunday's championship game. That one will be on FS1, streaming live on the Fox Sports app. 4 Eastern time, 3 local here in Nebraska. As you take a look at McNulty right now, the official telling her she's got to come off. She says, I'm fine. She's got nicked up on the tooth.
She took a shot to the lip, I think, right there.
Oh! Okay, I'm in pain up here.
Yeah, that's a fat lip.
Oh, man, that was a shot. You see the blood on her teeth. Wow. That was a shot, and in 25-degree weather.
That's a lip splitter.
And she wants to go right back on. That's Providence toughness at its finest. And now she is back on. Hannah McNulty, the leader of this team, and Providence has a chance to be a really special team next year with the amount they have coming back. Cummings, doubled corner. Second corner of the night for the Friars. Kralakis getting in position at the 6. You've got 5 Friars right now, right around that 6-yard box. Rodriguez is at the top of the area. This is laid in, and it really never had a chance to get to a Friar. Another feed in, McNulty with the head. 6 minutes on the clock here, potentially on the Providence campaign. But for the Friars, considering a week ago, they had a collapse in terms of just the way that game went at Seton Hall, one that they had to win. Went through the ultimate heartbreak, a lot of tears after that game because they felt like that was it.
That was it. Yeah, slim to no chance to make the postseason at that point.
To the ultimate elation of getting in, they had to wait till Friday to know because Marquette played DePaul on Friday due to snow in the Chicago area. Yeah, winter has arrived in the Midwest in a big way. In a lot of ways, we skipped fall. That's for another discussion. And then if you're Providence, you have to get on a plane, go to Butler, where the Dogs are just seemingly unbeatable at home. They beat them in PKs, and at that point you're thinking, let the ride begin.
Yeah, team of destiny at this point, right?
Right. You're facing destiny in Big East women's soccer.
Yeah. Eventuality is closer to the truth there. I mean, it's just Georgetown is eventual. They're just going to be there eventually. Even when they slip, even when they slide just a little bit, you can't write them off at all.
You cannot. Now on Sunday, let's begin to turn the page because playing Xavier is unlike playing anybody else in the conference because of the 3-back system. They put a lot behind the ball. Now for Georgetown, they came out with a 2-1 win in the regular season over the Musketeers. What does Xavier have to do in that match to come out with the title?
Yeah, and basically, John, they've got to do all the things that Providence didn't tonight. Your passing has to be so sharp. You've got to read the game really well from both ends of the pitch, both on defense and in attack. One thing that I was fairly disappointed with from a Providence perspective tonight is when they did get corners or set pieces, the deliveries weren't of high quality. You know, you've got to capitalize on those opportunities, especially against a team that's not going to give you many. You know, Georgetown commits the least number of fouls, an off-the-radar statistic in the conference, but they're not giving away opportunities for you to score on them with set pieces, you know? So they're supremely disciplined, and Xavier is going to have a tall task. It's got to be a near-perfect performance because, as we've seen tonight, it doesn't take much. Georgetown can score even when Providence looked like they had it locked up at the back. They weren't, you know, they had their backs against the wall. They weren't giving anything away. And then a silly foul, set piece, ball's in the back of the net. Before you know it, you're down a goal. So for Xavier, it's just got to be locked in and focused, and I'm sure Nate Lee will communicate that to his team all week long or all weekend long before we get to Sunday, and they'll be ready.
John Schreiner with us in the booth all night. I'm John Fanta. We'll have the call with Monica Moore on Sunday afternoon here from Omaha. So we head over to the TV side on FS1. Megan Nolly wearing the captain's armband. We've talked about Jermino Watnick and Carolyn throughout the night. Dave Nolan calls Megan perhaps his greatest success story. She was not very well recruited. 6 of her high school teammates, she went to a tremendous high school, went through that program, and 6 of her teammates went off to some of the best schools in the country. All 6 teammates transferred in college. Megan went under the radar in the recruiting. Georgetown spotted her. And Megan's first start was in the 2016 College Cup against USC.
How about that for a break-in game? You're starting in the Final Four for the first time against Southern Cal. That's some serious trust from a head coach.
Dave Nolan says every day Megan gets up and she does something to become a better soccer player. When you hear that from a guy who's been doing this for 16 years at Georgetown and has coached a lot of great players, someone who holds his players to the highest of standards in this sport, it really says a lot. And I think it bears noting, Sam Lopes paid a ton of respect to Dave yesterday and said everyone thinks it's easy what he's done at Georgetown. But he said this isn't Stanford.
No.
He said they're becoming that in the way that they win, but it is not that easy. And Dave deserves credit for what he's built.
No, we were talking about it in the previous match, you know. That Eastern Seaboard, John, there is a ton of competition in recruiting out there. So if you're going to pull players out of that local area, you know, you have to be really good. You have to be a relationship builder. You have to be a communicator on top of being a really good soccer mind and a program builder. Not easy at all.
No. They've made it look easy here tonight. A commanding performance by Georgetown. Kellyanne Livingstone and Amanda Caroland, the goal scorers. The Dynasty will defend their title on Sunday. Georgetown marches on to a 4th consecutive Big East championship game. A showcase of sportsmanship on the pitch. These Providence Friars put up a tough fight, but their season comes to an end at 8-9-3. And the 13-3-3 Georgetown Hoyas, the queens of this league in Big East soccer, will have the opportunity on Sunday. Coming up, John Schreiner will be down on the field with reaction from the Hoyas. A 2-0 win, and Amanda Carolan with the icing on the cake. Georgetown and Xavier set for Sunday.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
The Hoyas roll in the Big East semifinals 2-0 for shutout number 10 on Georgetown's season. They're heading back to the Big East championship game for a 4th straight year. John Schreiner's with their head coach, Dave Nolan.
Welcome down here to the pitch. John Schreiner alongside the winning head coach, Dave Nolan. Coach, Your senior class has never known anything but playing in the Big East championship game. How have they gotten to this point?
Just, first and foremost, good players. And good players with the proper attitude of not taking shortcuts, always doing what's needed and going above and beyond. So, we get a chance to go for another one on Sunday.
This match tonight, Providence, they were pinned back early on, but holding up. Yeah. Then you got the breakthrough. Well, what was going through your head when you got that 1-0 lead?
Honestly, I felt we needed it. We've had a rough week this week. We've had a virus go through our team, and even through today, I was pulling players off based on sickness and who was feeling well and so forth. So I got to give our kids a lot of credit for gutting it out and finding a way to just get that early goal, which we felt was important. And then I think after that, there was a couple of moments in the first half where they got back into it because they're a good team, obviously. Then I thought in the second half we came out very strong again and set a similar tone. And I think overall probably 2-0 was about fair.
Now looking ahead, you know who you've got in the championship. It's Xavier. What can you say about the matchup with the Musketeers?
Great team. Nate's done an outstanding job this year, and it's probably only fitting that the two best teams in the conference get to face off for the championship trophy.
Well, congratulations on making the championship game for the 4th straight year. Go get warm.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Dave Nolan heading off to the championship match here in the Big East.
That he is, John Schreiner. Great job to you tonight. Great to be with you here in Omaha. Let's set the stage for the Big East championship game on Sunday. It's the top 2 teams in Big East women's soccer this season. The Xavier Musketeers, the new blood of the conference, winning 6 straight matches to get to this championship game. 5 of them to close out the regular season and claim the top seed. That came to a surprise to many, including the Georgetown Hoyas. They are the 2 seed. And this senior class, the most decorated in program history, will look for an 80th win in their careers on Sunday. It will be a challenge. But Paula Germino-Watnick and Amanda Carolyn have seen every test in the book. On the other side, you've got Samantha Dewey, Grace Barr, a Xavier senior class that is experiencing this top reward. 3 years ago, they won only 1 conference game. Now they're 1 game away from a Big East championship. But they will face the dynasty in this league. You have so much star power on the field. 12 all-conference honorees. The top 2 scorers in Sam Dewey for Xavier and Amanda Carolyn for Georgetown. A longtime head coach in Dave Nolan, who knows how to win. And on the other side, Nate Lee, who has sparked the winning in Cincinnati. It's the Hoyas and the Musketeers. A heavyweight showdown for all the marbles in the Big East. Sunday in Omaha will be a lot of fun. Tonight has been too. John Schreiner's been great. Our producer, Ryan McGahey, awesome as always. Joe Willman, Brad Pace, the Big East Digital Network crew doing a tremendous job in the cold elements. And Georgetown, cold as ice. They are non-stop in their approach. And with ice in their veins, they win this one 2-0. Georgetown on to the Big East Finals. They'll meet Xavier on Sunday on FS1 at 4 Eastern Time as Dave Nolan leads the Hoyas to a 4th straight Big East championship game. Good night from Omaha.